This is the city. Every month it grows a couple of inches taller. It eats more food, uses more energy, and needs longer pants. Like other adolescents, sometimes the city has growing pains. When the pains get too severe, I'm part of the treatment. I carry a badge. It was Monday, October 15th. It was cloudy in Los Angeles. We were working the day watch out of a special detail of Homicide Division. My partner's Frank Smith. The boss is Captain Hertel. My name's Friday. We had rumors of an impending war between juvenile gangs in the city. Reportedly, the gangs were well supplied with homemade weapons. We didn't know when the fighting might start. We had to try and stop it. Hi, it was Dan Gardner. He's on his way over from Juvenile. He'll give us a rundown on the thing. Oh, you're feeling pretty good, are you? Well, that's fine, boy. I'm glad to hear. I didn't know you had any newspaper training. Well, is that so? Oh. Mm-hmm. All right, what'd you do? Write a column for the school paper? Well, then, were you one of the editors? What'd you cover sports? Well, now, just what did you do? Uh-huh. What'd you do? Oh. What'd you say, Gart? Oh, not bad, a little slow. Sit down, Dan. Well, we hear you got some problems. No, I figured you'd fill us in. Guess you could use some help, huh? Well, now, how come 5 gangs, Dan? What are they planning, a free-for-all? Uh-huh. Thanks. Yeah. Night Prowlers, Blue Devils, Black Tigers, Green Valley, Chalk Hill, yeah. Yeah. What's behind it, Gardner? Well, how'd they manage that? Dan, how about the other 2 crowds? Chalk Hill and the Night Prowlers. Homemade stiletto, too, huh? You've been able to figure what the real trouble is, Dan. Well, do you think he's responsible for working up this gang war idea? Tell me, Dan, how about the other youngsters in these gangs? I mean, besides this Barson boy. Yeah, sure. I'll tell you, Dan, you should have passed her the word. San Quentin's full of people that are hard to understand. The following night, Tuesday, October 16th, the members and ringleaders of various juvenile gangs, along with their parents, showed up at Georgia Street Juvenile as requested. We've got more than some boy's word for it, Mrs. Barson. We've interviewed dozens of them. They all say the same thing. Now, we've got samples of the weapons they use, and we know who's involved. Yes, ma'am, we do. Tell me, is he an only child, ma'am? Do you know where he spends his time when he goes out at night? There is, ma'am. Both of them have juvenile records. Both of them belong to your son's gang. I don't know how we're going to make you understand, Mrs. Barson. We're not picking on them. We're not persecuting them. We know there's a gang problem. We know your boy's one of those at the bottom of it. Now, if something isn't done, there's going to be trouble. If we're going to stop it before it begins, we've got to have your help. Sit down here a minute, son. We'll talk to both of you as long as you're here. It's about Geronimo. That's the gang's code word for the war you're setting up, isn't it? No, we got the names of everybody in your gang. We know the whole setup. Now, you go ahead with your idea, and you're going to buy a lot of trouble, Bob. You're in it up to your neck, son. Now, why don't you come off it? We've got you pegged and everybody that runs with you. That includes the girlfriend you got in the gang. You're not fooling anybody. All right, now you listen to me, boy. You can take this as a warning or a piece of advice any way you want it. You and your friends keep on playing punk gangsters and we're going to land on you hard, you understand? If it'll make you change your mind, yeah. Now, if this street war comes off, there's going to be big trouble. What do you think's going to happen when 200 kids tangle in a fight with knives and brass knuckles? Use your head. No, I think you've heard about everything we have to say. I wish you'd think it over, Miss Barson. You too, Bob. Yes, ma'am. Before we left the house, we tried again to talk to Robert Barson and his mother, but it was no use. She believed every word he said and apparently refused to believe the possible consequences of the war he was planning for his gang of juvenile. We drove downtown and had an interview with the boy's father at his work. He was even less cooperative. 5:45 p.m. Dan Gardner, Frank, and I met with Captain Glavis down at Georgia Street Juvenile. No, nothing for the last 2 days. If they figure on holding it, it'll probably come off late on a Friday afternoon. Maybe Friday night. That's when most of the trouble's been cropping up. You got anything in mind, Skipper? Yes, sir. Well, might teach some of the parents a lesson anyway. What is it, huh? Before we left the office, Captain Glavis had communications notify all J cars on the special detail to proceed at once to the scene of the Major 415 call. When Captain Glavis, Dan Gardner, Frank, and I arrived at the scene, the J cars and 3 radio cars had the area blocked off. The juveniles who had been lucky enough to escape without serious injury were removed to juvenile headquarters for further questioning. Juvenile officers at the scene of the fight. A teenage girl ran up to us and asked us to come with her. She said her boyfriend needed help badly. Yeah, Frank, wait a minute. You better call the coroner. The 17-year-old Barson boy was pronounced dead from the knife wounds in his chest. As we left the scene, we asked Sergeants Zachary and McTighe to notify the parents of the deceased. We called Control 1 and informed them that we were bringing in a teenage girl for questioning. 7:15 p.m., we got back to the office and proceeded to question the girl who identified herself as Clarice Porter, age 16. She told us she was Robert Barson's girlfriend. Yeah. What happened then? That's when you called out? It'll be all right, youngster. Clarice, how old are you? Oh, nothing. It happens to practically everybody. People make a lot of mistakes when they're 16. 8:13 p.m. A special show-up was held, and Clarice Porter identified 17-year-old Warren Stoll, nicknamed Jumpy, as the boy who'd stabbed Robert Barson to death. Statements were taken from all concerned. All parties were detained, pending a hearing in juvenile court. 8:53 p.m., Clarice Porter was turned over to a policewoman, and Frank and I started questioning the subject, Warren Stoll, about the murder. Now, we're pretty sure you're not telling us the truth here, Warren. Now, we know you tangled with Bob Barson in that fight this afternoon. Now, it was your knife, son. Your initials are on it. Now, that won't do, youngster. That knife's been processed. Your fingerprints are all over it. All right, come on, Warren. What do you got to say? Warren Stoll was booked in at Georgia Street Jail on suspicion of manslaughter. We received a call from Sergeant Zachary. He informed us that no one was home at the Barson house, but according to one of the neighbors, Mrs. Barson was expected back around 11:30. 11:45 p.m., we broke the news of her son's death to Mrs. Barson as gently as we could. She immediately became hysterical, and Frank called the family doctor, who prescribed the proper sedatives. Later, when she recovered herself a bit, she asked for the full story. We told her. We tried to warn him, ma'am. We tried to warn all of them. We're sorry you feel that way, ma'am. We better be going. The coroner can tell you that, ma'am. I suggest either you or your husband call him in the morning. Yes, ma'am. You'll be notified about the time and the date. Well, you might remember something else, too, ma'am. The last time we were here, we tried to make you understand. No, ma'am. There was someone else. The boy who killed him.